Someone tagged me in his post. She said, when I see a girl hit her man with a stern look and he starts behaving, and the audio is walk him like a dog, walk him like a dog. Something I need you guys to understand about posts like that is it's all gender low self-esteem, if that makes sense. The reason you see a lot of women being passionate about that kind of thing on this app, like, oh yeah, walk him like a dog, oh, be mean to men, like why you see women like get platforms off being mean to men, that's what's seen as cool. It's because of the patriarchy, because of the system that we've all grown up in. It's like in the grand scheme of things, they feel so depowered when they see a minor instance of a woman seeming empowered. It's like the best thing ever. And a lot of things are like that. Like, you know, those things where it's like, oh yeah, you know, I took a bathroom in my boss's coffee, you know, and he drunk it. Like people like those kinds of things because they feel like they're subservient to their bosses. They don't like it, and people don't really get mad at those things because it's like, oh, you're sticking it to the man, you're sticking it to like whoever's in charge of society. I'm obviously not saying men are women's bosses. What I'm saying is when you feel like a group has power over you, when you feel like they're systemically doing you wrong with that power, any little grip of like that, that's why they eat it up. That's why they love people like Sprinkle Sprinkle, because they know whatever Shira 7 does, right? Whatever one in particular woman does can't undo the entire patriarchy. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like a heartbreaking thing. So it kind of manifests as like excitement for mistreatment of men.
Therefore creating a negative feedback loop of do something bad to men. Men see that you do something bad. Men retaliate. Cycle continues. And I feel like that's the number one thing that is the undoing of this entire discourse about the patriarchy and whatever. Because a lot of people, okay, for me being a guy, I I feel like there's a larger argument for the patriarchy's existence in a African cultural sense, because I feel like it makes more sense to reference the patriarchy in that specific bubble, but not in the Western world. I really can't see it in the Western world. Yeah, sure, most of the people who have held like legislative power and all sorts of political power have been men, right? I see that and I believe that. I'm like, okay, okay, that I will concede that point. But then to claim it to be systemic, where one side benefits more, where guys benefit more than women, I kind of don't see it in the West. I don't see it in the West. But in Africa, now that's a different story. Here in Africa, that's a different story. I fully believe that the patriarchy is real only in nations with extreme cultural like presence, extreme like native cultural, extreme indigenous cultures. Because I see it in South Korea, I see it in Japan, I see it here in Africa, and all those places have a singular thing in common: culture, and how they uphold the ways of my people. The, those ways, yeah, they only benefit one side, and I've seen it so much so that most people in any African country that I've come across, the most people who are proud of their culture and put their little medal on their chest are guys. There are very few women. I've come across very few women who are like, no, I'm proud to be Zulu. This is what Zulus do. And I'm sure they're out there, right? I'm sure they're out there. But like naturally, I have not encountered them. They can be nationalists, like they can love like South Africa as a nation, they can love Zimbabwe as a nation, they can love Zambia as a nation, but like culturally, I've seen very few of them even go out on a limb and say no. I am proudly Zulu. I adhere to the ways of the Zulu culture. It feels like they're sort of dragged into it by like the men in their lives. And listen, this is me again. This is unscripted. You know, Calamity Cat. I'm thinking right off the top of my head. I don't write scripts for these videos. Everything, I watch the video and I'm like, I'm going to yap about this, and I proceed to yap about it. So this is a yap. Feel free to correct me in the comments, but it's something I've seen prevalent here in Africa, where it's like, oh, only the guys seem to be gun-ho, like extremely gun-ho about culture, but the girls, they're kind of not really there, because I full-heartedly believe that the patriarchy is here in the sense that culturally dominated states, like the examples I gave, your South Koreans, your Japans, your Chinas, and every African country. I feel like there is a systemic inequality. Even if you look at how they handle things like marriages and things like that. I have seen like straight up, I've heard straight up like aunts, elders sit down and tell a girl who was being abused in her marriage, you should stay because our people have always stayed. Look at me. I was abused. I stayed. Stay. There's even a word for it in my culture where it's a term that I really hate because I'm like, they're abusing you. Leave. But I see it used a lot on women in my culture where they're like, no, you should stay for this. You must remain. You cannot destroy your home over this thing. Don't you know men are like that? And I'm like, what do you mean? They are zombies? They eat brains? So we must be accepting of that? No, no. Wait. What do you mean? What do you mean? And if you watched there's a video that's gonna come out where I don't know if it's gonna be after this video or before this video, but there's a video that's gonna come out where I said it in like a live stream panel, and I was like, I wholeheartedly believe that um, women in Africa are being like systemically abused as a result of culture. The very cultures that we claim hold us all together actually hold us all together by force. Like it's sort of a conscripted culture, and it harms women predominantly more than it harms men. I believe that's absolutely true. I believe that's absolutely true. That when it comes to how cultures interact with the members in it, I feel like 9 times out of 10, there are laws and testaments in that culture that do not cover the modern day woman. Maybe it worked best for them in the past, but now I see a lot of modern day women being beaten down more by culture than by the system. And then even that unto itself is not safe because the people who feed into the culture come from the people that feed into the system come from the culture that is beating them down. So therefore the system inherently beats them down. And I'm like, well, what do you know? What do you know? But people in the West, I'm sorry, I'm kind of not buying it. I'm kind of not buying it because I'm like, no, you guys get away with quite a lot. Which, if African women, South Korean women, Japanese women, Chinese women, if they did the things that you guys do, ooh, that would be a different story. And I'm not even going to mention the Middle East, but that's a topic for another time. Like and subscribe. Have a good day.